Welcome to a video on making a toasting fork. This is a new style of video that I have. It is a bit more personal between me and yourself, the viewer, and I'm going to show you a bit of step by step along the way rather than narrating over it. So what we're going to be making today is a toasting fork, and I've pulled this little bit of bar out of the scrap pile that I've got, and I wanted to make a video on this for a long time, so what I'm going to be doing is making one out of this, which is stock size is 20mm by 6mm, or if you're American, just over 3/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch wide. So you don't have to use flat bar, you can use any sort of bar, but there's just one important technique which I'm going to show you, and that's where the prongs come out. What I'm going to be doing is showing you how to stop getting splits within that, because a lot of people would just chisel it up, and there's one process that's so simple, and as soon as you see it you'll know exactly what I'm on about, and it'd be an epiphany. So what we're going to do is we're going to chisel a line probably about 60mm in, and then forge the tines. And then what I might do is put a bottle opener on the other end, and then we're just going to forge a nice long tapered handle, just to take it from a flat bar into something a bit more elegant. And obviously it's a bit too short, so the tines will lengthen it, the bottle opener will lengthen it, and the work that we're going to do down the centre of the bar will also lengthen it, and there'll be a few different techniques within it. So basic hammer control, basic tooling, and they sell for a good price, and they sell pretty well as well. So if you're up for watching that, guys and girls, then join us for this episode, where I'll show you how to make a toasting fork. So stay with us, guys, and we'll get the forge lit now, and we'll crack on and smash the metal in. So what I'm going to do now is I've scribed a line down the centre, a very faint line, and now all I'm going to do is centre pop or centre punch a line of dots along one side, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other, so that when I take it out of the fire I can see my dots and I can see where I've got to chisel it rather than guessing the centre. It makes it a lot easier as you go along. You'll see as it goes. So as you can see, I've centre lined it. Put a centre dot along the length of it, 60mm down from the end of the bar roughly. You can go a little bit further if you want longer tines. And yeah, so when I put it in the fire, I'll show you what it does. I'm going to find our line, chisel a little bit, I'm going to move along, chisel a little bit, move along, chisel a little bit, to the end, then make it into a line. God, that's rough, but you'll see how to get rid of it in a short while. So now we do exactly the same on the back, find our centre dots, chisel a little bit, and again chisel a little bit, and again chisel a little bit. You're not trying to go through all the way, and then follow your line, and then what that'll give you is two lines either side. So now what you can see, line that side, line that side. Flatten it, guys, flatten it. And then the next one will come in and we'll go all the way through. But what we need is a backing plate so we don't damage the anvil. So we now get a backing plate, which is just a piece of scrap stainless steel sheet I got. You can use mild steel, somewhat softer. You don't want to use tool steel. You just want a sheet of something that's not gonna, it won't go through to the anvil when you chisel through all the way. So I'm going to take out the fire now and complete the cut. heavier blows this time. That's our cut. Quench your chisel. So after the chisel cut, this is what we end up with. As you can see, I got a little bit of rag on this edge, just along here, which we now rasp off with a farrier's rasp or a really coarse file. So basically we got to take all this chunk out right here. There's not much of it, but we get that sorted before we go on. Makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot nicer finish. So we get it back in the forge, we bend the prongs out, and then we go to the vise and file it out. So the first thing we do, we flatten it and we straighten it. Then you want to grab it with your tongs, put it in a corner, tap the end. Keep it flat. Swap around, do the other side. Keep going. If you quench this bit, which I'm going to do now, you'll see how a lot easier it is and a lot quicker to get these bits where you need them. So now I've quenched it, I can now hold it in my hand, which makes life a lot easier. See? Keep it straight. Work both sides, not stop it twisting. Then bring it up vertically. See how I'm holding it vertical and that one's not sitting. So now it's vertical, it's sitting nice. Both are equal. Now what we got to do, take a rasp down this edge and we're sorted. We get rid of that rag and then we can carry on. So lock it in the vise, lock it tight, real tight, and then with a gentle stroke, take that rag off. And once she bites, they go a bit harder then. You don't want to shape it, you just want to get that rag off, that's all, if you've got any rag. So that's one side done. So the rag's gone now. All we got is an oblong section with a bit of a funny shape to it, which is easier to square up. And then what I'm going to do with this one, do exactly the same, and just take that sharp edge off, and then I'll show you that little trick I was on about. So before you do the rag on the next one, straighten out, put it with the edge. This is going to be parallel on the anvil. Tap that. When I say tap it, I mean tap it. Don't hit it, tap it. Straighten it out. That's all you got to do, straighten it out. And then we're going to take this rag off. So what I've done, taken both bits of rag off, bent them over. So this is 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees. This is flat. And then what I'm going to do is show you this little bit to prevent the split in there. All you need is an old chisel. Get yourself an old chisel, one that you don't need, and round off the edge. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to tap this in. And what that does is create no cold shuts, no sharp bits, because a sharp corner will tear, whereas a rounded corner has a lot more resistance to tearing. So we're going to heat this up, we're going to get this nice and warm, put it in the vise, tap tap, only 2 taps or 3 taps, just to smooth that transition out, and that's it. We're going to put it in the vise. We're going to put it down tight. Because we're going to be hitting it, it will slide. And then get it central, and then tap. One more, and that'll do it. That'll do enough for me. So as you can see, it's just rounded it off. It's not put a sharp corner in there. It's just cut the taps, and that's it, done. All this rag in here, you'll see how we get that out in a minute. So this is the most important bit, and the hardest bit. So we push this down, keeping this at an angle. Then we're going to come the other side, do the same. Keep that flat, keep everything flat. Make sure it's equal. Keep everything flat. So it's equal. I'll show you how I'm getting this equal now. So how I get them equal, this is another little trick, is when you get it sitting nice, keep your hand in the same place. Turn your work, hand in the same place. And once they both sit level, you can pretty much almost guarantee that they will be equal. So now we can work on the tines. So holding it vertically, start with the tip. Work the side. Tip. Side. Tip. So I was just working the top and working the side. Don't take either too thin. You want to keep them a nice thickness, but you still want to taper. You can see I haven't touched this. So what we're going to do is make it into a square piece, and then we're going to make it round, and then so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one down to section that I need, and then I'm going to work on this one when this length is reached. So again, pull it out. Now I'm going to go a little bit further back now. I'm going to bring my taper to the end of the bar. I'm going to work both sides now. Now I'm going to come quite far back and run my hammer along the length. So now, that's good for now. I've got the same thickness here, small taper at the end. This thickness stays pretty consistent, small taper at the end. So now we're going to work this one and get it to the same length. So before we forge this one out, we're going to mark the length for this. So where it sits flat on the anvil, that's pretty lucky because it's almost the width of my anvil, which usually if it's a bit shorter, chalk a mark. So when you're forging this out, as soon as that reaches that mark, you know you've got the right length. So what I'm going to do now I know my length, as long as this sat flat on the anvil, and that sits flat on the anvil with my hand in position like I just showed you, then we should end up with two almost equal lengths of prongs. So again, exactly the same thing, start on the end, see how it gradually creeps to the end. You might have to take quite a few heats on this because it's such a small section of steel. The heat dissipates into the anvil extremely fast, but we're only about 10 mil away, so what I'm going to do is just work the back end now, work this slightly in because it's a bit thick, and then take that, next heat we should be to the end. So now I know it's only 10 mil. Go there. Now we're to the same length as the other. Now we keep the hand in the same place and just tidy it up so that this here should end up the same as your anvil. So 90 degrees to the side of your anvil. I'll show you that now. So as you can see, this edge here sits on the anvil, that sits on the anvil. They must both do it either way as you turn them, and then that way it's a lot easier to know you're equal and you've got a nice 90 degrees there. So that one will be exactly the same as the other when you match it up to your length. So now we're all squared up, it's time to round up. So we start again on the end, slight tap, and then heavier blows as we get to the back, keeping everything straight as we can. And run down that one, and if it starts twisting, run down your original edges, original size, and that'll take the twist out, that'll reset it, and then again work the corners into an octagon, and then what happens on the top will happen on the bottom because the anvil does exactly the same. So if you think you can't get in there and forge it, just hit it from the top. Run round the original edges again lightly. And there he's semi-round now, he's octagon. So what we're now going to do is do the other one, take that to octagon. So now we take this one to octagon, do exactly the same thing, little tap on the end. Oh, that twisted it. So before I carry on, I'm going to run the original edges again. So now we restart. And I'll do lighter hammer blows on the end. it wants to twist on me, it really does want to twist. But you're in control, so you run the original edges. So that's octagon enough for me. So now what we do is we set it up again. We get that 90 degrees again. Keeping your hand in the same place. So now we're ready. If you see this here, where it's not been worked, don't worry about that. I'll show you how to get rid of that in a bit. So now the next heat we're going to do is we're going to round them up. What you don't want is too high a heat on this. You want it nice and cool. Well, not cool, but not as hot as you would for forging. Now I just rotate, rotate, rotate. You see it's already going round. Just what we want. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Don't worry about taking it really round, especially on the end, because what we're going to do is file it at the end, so we get a nice smooth transition, nice smooth surface. And that's round enough for me. It's almost round. So now take another heat and we do that. So again, lower forging heat, I'm going to round it up. If you rotate one way, try not to rotate it back on itself, because what that'll do is it'll fold the metal, and if you fold it you get a cold shut in it. You've got a cold shut in it, you've got a flow in it, it's not very good. So now with that last little bit of black heat, get our 90 degrees again, hand in the same position. That's it. So now we've got two prongs, all rounded up, all equal. There's a little bit of a fold there, but we're going to file it anyway. A bit of a straighten on the handle. And that's it. So next we're going to take a little bit of a heat now, just to clean these up with a file. And I'm going to go all the way in, focusing on where we put that fuller mark to do the transition. I'm going to have a load of you shouting at me now saying don't drag a file, but to be honest this file's done. It's only the edges that are actually any good, which is what I'm using. Round that up nice. All the way into our transition bit. Lovely. So there you can see the difference. So I've taken the file in right into here, and then I'll do the same on the other side. So let's do exactly the same on the other side. And what that does, takes out all your little lines, all your little flat spots. Makes it a nice, elegant, smooth, pleasant piece to hold. What you can do now is get your little chisel bit that you use to put the transition bit in, or a piece of 6mm square round bar or something, and just give it a tap. So give it a nice small tap. So now the prongs are how we want them. We're going to close it up. Work it equal. 2 it to one side, 2 it to the other side, until they line up. If they cross, put one of them on the side, just tap it round. Don't do this cold. What you end up is with this little gap here. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this gap up with another heat. I'm not going to smash that, because that'll wreck the edges then. So I've taken another heat, and I'm going to lightly tap it, keeping it at an angle, and then they'll go together then. So without any measurements, I'm only an 1/8 of an inch, or probably about 3 or 4 mil out the ends of the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically file that off. So I'm going to take it to the vise now. I don't need a heat. I'm going to take it to the vise, file it down. Now they're equal, I can leave that alone and carry on with the rest of the piece. So what we're now going to do is do a transition. What I'm going to do is put my hammer in here at an angle, workpiece at an angle, give it a couple of hits in the same spot. Then I'm going to turn it, do exactly the same. That'll give us a little transition. Now I'm going to take another heat, and I'm going to bring this back edge out. Come over the other side of the anvil now. Not on the end, just a bit back. I'm going to hit in. Again, I'm going to turn over. I'm going to hit in. Again, turn over. Hit in. Again, turn over. I need it to go down a bit, so I'm just going to put it on the flat. Straighten it and come back, and then flatten that. And then I'll tidy it up at a lower heat. Go to the other side, tidy that up. Drop it if you want. You don't have to, that's optional. But
guess it wanted to be dropped then. So if it's not central, just put it on a flat, give it a little tap there. See, now you've got two tapers now. So what I'm now going to do is bring this taper quite far up. So I'm going to take it from 20mm or 3/4 of an inch, I think it was, in American and inch terms. And I'm going to do a gradual taper up to about the centre of the bar. So I got the heat where I need it, at an angle again, work my way down, keeping it flat. Flatten it. See, if you work it at the right temperatures and the right amount of force in the hammer, you don't have to brush it, you don't have to take the scale off, it's already off. Just keep flipping it, working both sides, and it'll even itself out. Again, if that's not central, give it a little tap. There you go, that's a bit of a longer taper now. Oh, it's a bit bright for you. So the transition point starts here. Longer taper. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a bottle opener on the other end. So what we're now going to do, get a round slot punch, centre of the bar, like 6 to 8mm from the end. Punch it all. Slug out. And there's your little slug. That's ready to be drifted. So we can put a round drift in and then round them up on the horn. So we're going to drift that slot a little bit more so we can get a round punch in. Not loads. Dress your rag and go through the other side. Go a little bit further so it ends up with a straight hole. So now we take it to the horn, knock the ears in. Flatten them, knock the ears in, flatten them, and work it round. wants to be even thickness all the way around. Or should I say even width. So we're going to take another heat and tidy that up. So we're just going to tidy it up with this heat, get everything even. Nearly there. A little bit this side. Then you want to work the other side. Come round to the other side. Just planish it. What you're doing is planishing. There you go. Nice equal hole. Come over the edge of the anvil. Really light taps. And all we're going to do is just tap it in. Straight. And if one edge goes a bit further, just tap it over. Tap it over. Flatten it. Then you can work this on the horn to get that out. Takes a bit of mucking around. Flatten out. Now what you want to do is take a bit of a small ball peen hammer or something like that, and nail it, and leave it soft. Because a lot of people have asked me, what happens when you strike two hardened hammers together? They chip and they shatter. A lot of people are saying, no, they don't chip and they don't shatter. That's two chips from before I nailed it. Okay, so be careful what you're doing, guys, with this. Nail your hammers before, and then they're soft enough, but they're hard enough, and you're not going to shatter, and you're not going to crack them, you're not going to injure anybody else, and more importantly, you're not going to injure yourself. So what we do now is we're going to put a wire brush to this just to clean the scale off, so we don't smash the scale into the final piece. So get this, line her up, small tap, wrong hammer. Straighten her up. Oh no. You got yourself a little bottle opener on the end now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same as what we've done on this bit. We're going to do it on this end. So again, I'm coming over to the far edge of the anvil, work at an angle, hammer at an angle with the toe. cut the bits in, flatten it, cut the bits in, on the other side, flatten it, get it up. So come back out, do exactly the same. Then work it back. Keep it flat. Other side. Work it back, flatten it. So you're seeing now, every time I work this edge, I keep this flat. I don't work it and work it and work it, and then when you try and flatten it, you cause a crack. I'll do it as I go, makes it a lot easier. And then another tip, before you put it back in the fire or the forge, straighten it. So when you pull it out, you know it's straight and you can just carry on forging. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this taper back to where this taper ended. Flatten it. Sides. Did I say flatten it? Now we've got, you can clearly see now this is our thickest bit, which I want really in the centre of this. So what I'm going to do now is work this back into that. I'm going to tidy this up first, then work that back into the centre, so it's like a diamond shape. So I'm going to work this taper back again, and I'm going to do light blows. Light overlapping blows. That's straight enough for me. Now we work the other side. So I'm going to work this back. And hit on the same bit. Finish on the same bit, you'll have a diamond. needs to creep up, so this bit now needs to thin out and creep up. Oh, I haven't done that properly. It's looking good. So I want to just tidy this edge up. That was a nice transition now. A little bit off centre. Now it's centre. So we have this as a kind of a diamond point. You can sort of see the difference in section. Not a lot. There's a slight diamond in it. Now what I'm going to do is just run along the edge, all the way along, and I'm going to knock the corners off, just so it's a nicer feel in the hand. It looks better, because it's pretty boring to be honest, and it just give it a little bit of character, and then we'll go and work the ends, turn it into a toasting fork. Now we take the ends off, the corners off, sorry. Overlapping blows again. You can leave it like that for a little bit of texture if you wanted to, but me personally, I like nice clean lines and I like it nice and smooth, so that's what I'm going to do, is flatten that and flatten the sides. So now the corners are knocked off, I'm going to work the edge, and then ever so lightly and then wire brush, and then flatten them. That way the scale doesn't get caught in the metal. Run my corners again just to define them. Then the flats. Then straighten it. So it's nice and straight. Edges are knocked off. I'll show you a close up now. So the edges have been knocked off. the corners off, that's all. Left the flat sides, and just took the corners off. I'll repeat that on the other side. So we do the same on this side. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it at an angle. And the hammer's at an angle as well. I'm just squeezing it between the anvil and the hammer. So we run down the sides. Wire brush. And down the flats. Oh, imagine if you had to pay for this. So now while it's black heat, I'll run down them again. To find my corners. And then the flaps. Because it's at a temperature where scale doesn't form, I'm not going to brush it because there's no scale. That's looking nice. Now all I've got to do is straighten it, clean it up, and that side is done. Bottle opener side. And then all we got to do is muck around with the prongs. And we got ourselves a toasting fork. So now everything else is done. What we're going to do is we're going to take these edges off here, take the corners in like we did on the other bit, and then before we open these up we're going to make sure everything's in line, everything's straight, so that it's a lot easier, it's a lot more symmetrical when we come to open up these over the bick. And then we're going to do exactly the same, keeping the hand in the same place, get them to 90 degrees. So get the fork, so that fork will then come out, be central, everything will be central, a lot easier as we go. So I'm going to get some heat now, just take these corners off. I don't need a long heat or a big heat or a bright heat, I just need cherry red, something like that, just to knit them corners off and then blend it in. So I need to take these corners in, so I'm going to rest it and I'm going to sit it flat before I carry on, and then just take them corners off, other side, flip them over, other side, other side. Now what we're going to do, I don't know if you can see that there, there's a little lumpy bumpy bit, make it focused a minute. So right in here on the corner of my bar here, there's a little bit that needs blending in. I can't blend it there, so what I've got to do is take it to the horn and just blend it. I'll show you how I do it now. Literally put it on there using the rounding side of our hammer, same angle, light blows, and just push it through. Push it through. Push it through. Then what I can do is I can tidy this on a nice, really small curve, or a large curve should I say, not a tight curve. Then just blend the side in. And then come back to the anvil, blend the flat in. So now we got it as we want it. It's all blended in, the corners are knocked off, everything's done. What we're now going to do, like I said, straighten everything. So this bit just needs tapping over a little bit. I went a bit too far, so one tap instead of two. Right, now we're ready to open up these prongs. So take a nice heat. Basically you want the heat around this area. You don't have to worry about on the ends if that cools down or not. Don't touch the metal because it burns you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open that up, tidy this little inside up again if I have to, and then sort the prongs out. So I'm going to use my chisel. I'm just going to stick it in and open it up. Just enough. So now we can get in here, and if you've got the end cool, you can tap the end, turn it over, doing exactly the same thing as what we did in the first place. So now heat's gone. Always got to do this at quite a nice temperature. And then we're going to flatten these out so they go out straight now. So holding it into your body again in the same position. Everything else is quenched. Just give it light tap blows because you don't want to mess up your rounds. If you do mess up your rounds, just round them up again. You can come in here, knock that down. So now we're 90 degrees ish. So now we're done. Now we just got to straighten this a little bit. Make sure everything's straight along the edge as well. So everything's straight now. Now the next bit is to go on the horn and get this bit here into a lovely curve. So you want to put a mark on your anvil, on your horn. Hold your piece vertical, tap it down till it sits vertical, and then bring this in, brushing taps over, straighten them, straighten your handle if it bends. Tap. So you end up with something that looks like that. It's a bit messy. It's a fair bit messy, but next heat we'll get that. So we take it out at a nice heat. Hold it vertically, horizontally. Give it a tap. Keep it exactly where it is in your hand. Give it a tap. Straighten them out. If you go too far, come back, tap it that side, and a little bit that side. That side, a little bit that side. See, I'm only tapping it. I'm literally resting the hammer on it. You can straighten the handle out. And if you've got to go a little bit more, put it just down the horn a little bit. push it. You see where we're going with this? It's starting to look like a toasting fork now. So make sure everything's straight before you carry on. So when everything's straight, quench your handle all the way up, and then sort your prongs out. Until they sit linear with each other. I'm literally just tapping it. It's only thin, so it'll bend. Keep it flat if you can. Now if you wanted to make these sharper, now's the time to file them off and get them sharp. But I'm going to leave it like that. Now what I'm going to do is dish it, so that when you put your toast on there, or your sausages or whatever, your marshmallows, that it's got somewhere to sit rather than easy enough to fly off. So I'm going to take it to the horn now, and I've made a mark, so that when I push this over, I know where to take my next one, which I get exactly the same as the previous one. Then come here, tap that down slightly, and what you can do is follow the curve all the way around your horn. So that's a little bit too much, that is. A little bit too much, so what we do, we go to the wider part of the horn and we follow that. Well, we can't get in there, so what I do, because it's the same the other side, switch it round. That's a lot better. Still a bit too much, but a lot better. So if you need to take another heat, take another heat. Carry on until you're happy with the curvature that you think is going to be the best for the purpose of what you're using it for. And if they go out slightly, stick it on the horn, tap in, keeping this curve in the horn. I'm going to say that's there. That's good enough for me. That's what I wanted. That was a little bit out. So what I'm doing is I'm looking down it this way to see if the curves are the same. See, they're not the same. So what I've got to do with the closest one, just make it a bit wider. So I'll bring it here, I'll tap it, let me check again. As you can see, they're pretty darn good. Oh, a little bit on the end. There you go. So now they match. Everything matches. Got a nice curve in it. All the scale all over it. So what we're going to do now is take a nice orange heat and wire brush it up. So before I wire brush this is a butcher's block brush. I am going to wet it and then brush it. If you're ever doing any curls and you're wire brushing them, do them over the horn. will misshape them. It's gonna, because it's so thin. What you can usually do, play around with it until the temperature drops that the scale doesn't form. Then play around with it then. Get everything linear again. Everything lined up. All even. I think I'm going to go with a little bit more. This is when you get a bit picky. Checking it over, I'm looking down the line, I'm looking at this prong to see if it covers this prong, which it does, and then switch to the other side, do the same. That little bit needs to come over. That's good, that's where I want her. So now we've got a nice smooth transition there, a nice smooth bend. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'm happy with that. So when you've got your prongs happy, and you're happy with them, and they're all in line and symmetrical and the same thickness, go ahead, straighten everything up, get everything straight, get everything as you want it. What you can do then is work it in sections. So I would heat this section up, I'd wire brush it, and I'd quench it, and then I'd heat this section up, whatever you can get in your fire, it's a nice bright orange, wire brush it, and then finish off with this section, and then you can wire wheel it, which is what I will be doing. Just getting a wire cut brush on a grinder and cleaning everything up. But make sure you straighten everything before you go to that stage. So I'm going to clean her up now and show you what she looks like. Hello, if you've made it to the end of this video, this very long video, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to make one of these, please feel free. Now you know how it works, how I do it, and hopefully I've explained enough in detail so that you can now go and make your own, and you've got a reference to come back to look at what I'm doing. And there's another little thing on YouTube, is there's a speed button. If you look down in this corner here, there's a little cog icon. If you click that and go on to speed, you can then slow down the video or you can speed up the video. So if there's a process that you want to see it in slow motion, then click it and play around with them settings and you'll be able to see it in real slow motion. Completely at your leisure, so that I don't have to slow it down myself during the video and I don't have to speed up stuff during the video. Everything in this video was real time. Obviously except for the heat times. That was the only bit that I've edited out, and every other bit is what I've taken to forge this. So hopefully you've learnt a few more tips and tricks, and whatever you have learnt that you never knew before, please comment below and let me know what
what it was that you learnt from the video, and what I can take from that is add them to new videos in the future, and hopefully help you guys out. So if you like what you see, then thumbs up. If you don't like what you see, thumbs down, doesn't matter. If you've got any questions or any comments, please feel free to comment. I try and get back to every single comment, and I'll try and reply. If it's not straight away, it should be a couple of days later. So yeah, all I've done to finish this now is a wire wheel on a grinder, and then all I'll do is heat it up a little bit and coat it in vegetable oil, just because it's a cooking implement. Or you could just leave it, and as long as you keep it in a dry place and don't coat it in water, and if you're cooking sausages or whatever, use the fat off the sausages to coat it. And if you're using an open fire, then if you just cure it in, and curing it in means getting it to a certain temperature, not glowing, not really hot, just enough so that fat then cooks into the steel, into the tiny little porous parts of the metal, and then that'll keep it nice and fresh. All I've done is put a slight curve in it, going around there, so when it sits flat on the floor you can always pick it up. So I didn't manage to get this into a diamond shape, so what I've ended up doing is just literally blending it through. But all the corners are knocked off, everything smooth, flows freely, it's all smoothed out, it's nice to the hand, it's nice and light. If you wanted to put it in a backpack, I'm sure you could put it in a backpack, take away camping and stuff. So yeah, because I don't give away all my designs on YouTube, please feel free to take this and make your own design or copy it, whatever suits you best really. But so that's it, that's a wrap guys. So again, if you've liked this video, then give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give us a thumbs down, comment, and if you want to follow this channel and see all my other up and coming videos and my previous videos, then please subscribe so you know where to come back to find the videos. They should be a bit more regular from now on. But other than that guys, I can't thank you enough if you've made it this far. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video. So have a good day guys, keep forging, keep lighting them fires and keep it in metal. Have a good one. Thanks a lot guys. See you later.